Good Tuesday morning of Christmas week, and it's the feast of St. Stephen Martyr, the first martyr, proto-martyr. And it's really interesting why the church does. You'll see it all week long, actually. It's very interesting what the church does. Right after the high point of Christmas Day, she reminds us of Good Friday in the life of the church. She gives us Stephen Martyr. And it's no accident. The church is not in the business of sentimentality. You can't separate Christmas Day from Good Friday. You see, you can't. Christ, see, you right away you get the shadow of the crucifixion, the shadow of the cross immediately in the mind of the church as she begins her cultic celebrations each day. We'll have the Holy Innocents in a few days. You see? It's interesting. It's so interesting that Christ in the peacefulness of Bethlehem is still a Christ who will die for us in a miserable crucifixional way, and that we share in the passion of Christ. Our mode of redemption is through the passion of Christ, not the birth of Christ left by itself. It could have been, but it wasn't. It was through his death. And in baptism and in life, we enter into his death, and thus we rise with him. That's the beauty of the liturgy, in a sense. It's a reminder on the 26th. We're just getting over the fun and festivity, and rightfully so, of Christmas Day. We're reminded that we are called ultimately to share and fill up those things wanting in the suffering of Christ. Not only in the birth of Christ, but in the suffering and death of Christ. And that is the ultimate meaning of our existence. And it is the fulfillment of our hope and our faith, you'll see. That life triumphs over death, but we have to enter through death, through the cross. There's no shortcut to paradise, you see. I think that's really true. I'm reminded of that because normally, I'm either here or in Connecticut during the Christmas holiday. This year I'll be here. So I always say Mass on the 26th, and I always give the same homily every year. And it's a reminder that Christmas is the foretaste and the forecoming of Good Friday and Easter Sunday. See, that is just, in a sense, the incarnation is the entrance into the passion and death of Christ. And then through that, through the sacraments and our lives, we enter in to Christ in his birth, but also and especially in his death and resurrection. See? By the way we live and the way we suffer, the way we live out our human existence, whatever form it may take. I think of that a lot. And maybe I'm beating a dead horse here. I don't know. But I think of this a lot because I guess I love Christmas so much. But look, as I told you yesterday, for me, the hope that I derive from Christmas is not for presents or anything like that at all. Christmas for me is the hope that I will be at the table of the Lord with my family again in paradise. That's what I hope for in Christmas. I told you that yesterday. And Stephen Martyr, okay? His entrance is dramatic. He is killed for the sake of Christ. See? We may never be killed for the sake of Christ. It's highly unlikely, but we can live and die in Christ by the way we live our lives and by the way we love. Yeah. You don't have to be martyred, but you have to have a martyr's heart, as it were, willing to love at all costs, both Christ and the people of God that he gave us, our families, our friends, all whom we share this life with. I mean that. The enemy of Christ is not the devil, it's selfishness. It's the unwillingness to love sacrificially, to love generously those whom Providence has given us to love and be loved by, starting with the immediacy of our own families, but also for friends, colleagues, whoever it is. I was so blessed in my life with a family, with a beautiful family. Didn't appreciate my family when I was young. Many people don't. I don't think I was strange in that regard. But I didn't realize how much I had in them, how good a family I had, how a model family I had, until I was way far away from it and mature. And I began to understand what love was about. It wasn't feeling good, goody two shoes. It was a bond of love and self-sacrifice, a commitment to one another. That was my parents. I understood that. Father Flavian Doherty, or else it was Father Norbert Dorsey. I guess it was Norb said to me one time, Ted, you don't appreciate, he was my director. This was 60 years ago. Exactly, 1962. He said to me, you don't appreciate your family. You don't appreciate how good they are. It was stark. It was stark to me. Because I just thought them as different from every other kind of family because my father was foreign, my mother was stern, a stern school teacher. I didn't see what they were, that they were loving parents in the profoundest sense. Norb did, so did Flav. The two passionists had the greatest influence on my life. It was the order, the passionists, that led me to see my family and then to in a sense, really admire and love them beyond the pale. That's the truth. It took the order. It took the order to help me see the beauty of my family, my home. See? It's just, I think that's because they were self-sacrificial. And then if you want, I don't know how else to put it. That's a pious phrase. You had to know it. I hope I'm not rambling now. I'm just reflecting. This is the Christmas season, and I'm reflecting on my family, but I'm also looking at Stephen Martyr, because I know the heart of the martyr is to sacrifice and not hold back. And he is the essence of Christian faith. He gives his life. Stephen gives his life for Christ, his belief in Christ. See? That exercises itself in everyone's life by how you love the people in your life, how you are towards those whom God has given you. If you're selfish or if you're self-absorbed, you defeat, as it were, the faith. Maybe I didn't say that right, but if you love generously, you are living the faith, and you are dying within the faith perfectly, because you're giving your life to someone else. And that's the essence of Christianity. It's the essence of love itself. You love somebody else more than you love yourself. And in the end, you possess both yourself and those you loved and been loved by. That's the truth. That's the truth. I didn't say any of this right this morning. I'm sorry. Sorry. I am. I'm just trying to reach out that the Stephen Martyr is a reminder that we are called to the cross of Christ immediately. But that cross is the sacrificial love we ought to have and must have in order to fulfill our lives as loving other people, especially those that Providence has given us. It's not schmaltz. It's not an easy going. We are called, as Stephen Martyr was called to martyrdom, called to sacrifice for the other, to love with a generous heart. And as you're preparing or you're celebrating Christmas now and the day after, I hope it's a celebration of love and generosity and gratitude, giving yourself to someone else. Isn't it interesting at this time of year how many people get engaged? Am I right? Giving the gift of themselves to someone else, not what you're going to get out of it, but what you can give. I'm giving you my heart. Isn't that neat? Something profoundly beautiful about that. It's a great Christmas gift to propose to your beloved on Christmas Day, to give yourself, not a thing, to give yourself to the other with no strings attached. That's Stephen Martyr. It's also the essence of love itself.